this world kind of feels like it's meant for escaping, you know? It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like something that you want to exist in. You get taken down slowly but surely. Like your morality gets crushed, your happiness gets crushed. And I feel like there's a few reasons for that why we try and escape our presence. One, our own mortality. Now, I'm a believer in God, for the most part, you know. I have questions. But I do think, like, in general, people don't come to terms. Like, even if you're religious and you're like, oh, I'm going to heaven, you don't come with terms that, yes, you are still going to die. And although, yeah, you're going to go to heaven, you're still going to die. And for people who don't believe in it, I mean, I think it's hard for them to accept it. You know, I think the group that comes to term with it easiest is probably atheists who were once Christian. You know, for whatever reason they stopped believing, and I'm not going to discredit anyone. You know, I have some doubts. I don't quite know where my head is on the whole subject, but you know, we're going to die, and that's difficult to learn. You know, that's hell, even like right now, I just won't give myself a moment's notice to think about this stuff. You know, I personally, I don't think I'm willing to sit down and think about it for a second because you know that just seems overwhelming. And it's not just that I suffer with mental health problems and hopelessness. You know, I deal with depression and wondering if it'll be okay, and then just thinking about the fact that we're all going to die. That's very difficult. And also, there's like another thing that makes it hard to just exist in this world is, we have bad habits or we don't know what our purpose is. And realistically, I don't think we have a purpose, but coming to that fact that we don't have a purpose, that's difficult. I've been running from that my whole life. And I'm not trying to be nonchalant about this, but I realized the last few videos I've made just wasn't being authentic. I was trying to get views or something, instead of talking about something that I genuinely liked. And I love talking about stuff I like a lot more, because I can just rant and I don't have to worry about anything. That's what I liked about that's what I liked about some of my older videos. But I try to escape the fact that, I have no purpose. I am not going to be different. I am not going to be special, most likely. I will never make something that's inherently, generationally cool. No, I probably won't make something that people will remember next generation, even. You know, I realistically, we're not going to do anything special. And that hurts. I grew up on watching YouTube and intaking medias I really enjoy, and I'm like, I want to make something like that. But, you know, bad habits chase me, and because of my escapism from the fact that I probably won't make anything cool, then I don't even give it a try because I'm trying to escape the fact that it's probably not going to be cool. So it's like it's a terrible cycle of I don't think I'll make anything cool, thus I won't try, thus I know I won't make anything cool, thus I won't try, so forth and so on. And that's only one of them. There's also like just impending doom. The economy's doing terrible from what I've heard. I try to avoid politics and economic status because it's just not worth it mentally. But realistically, it's not getting better. It's getting worse. And trying to escape that thought is terrible because I definitely will 100% willingly admit that I try to escape from the fact that I'm not even mad about it, because if I think about it too much, I'm just going to start worrying about it. I mean, that's kind of the whole thing. If you think about something not good, you start to worry about it. This is how it is. But I need to face all these demons to start thinking. It's not something that you can just hide away from. It's not something that you can just be like, okay, this is what it is. I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm gonna live in my own little fantasy world. I think that's why media has kind of blown up more than ever. Like just slop videos and there's art and there's media. You know, there's stuff you watch to distract yourself, and there's stuff that you watch to enjoy yourself. You know, and I will say 99% of the time, I watch or play or whatever just to avoid just to avoid existence. It's terrifying, you know. There's a lot of things I need to come to terms with, like stuff when I was a kid. I've been working on that. Some just facing some troubles from that, and then also like I don't know, just it's difficult, you know. It's pain. It's trying to escape from this. It's hard, and I'll get a few minutes where I'm just sitting there and I've got nothing to do, absolutely nothing. I've got this whole week off. I took this whole week off from work just to enjoy the holidays, and I am losing my shit if I'm being honest. It's only been a couple days, and I've got like 8 more. I've got like 6 more days. And I'm just sitting here, freaking out. I don't want to waste my vacation. I want to work through some of this stuff. That's kind of the whole point, at least for me personally. And it's just difficult, you know. It's difficult facing demons, you know. And I've learned that, you know, one part of escapism is it's really difficult to go do things I want to spontaneously. Like I was really thinking, man, it's really foggy outside, you know, it's just turning to sunrise. I feel like it'd be really cool just to walk around. You know, walk around the town, walk around the city. But for some reason I just can't get myself to do it. It sounds really cool. I feel like it'd be a core memory or something, but it's just I can't. And here I am escaping again by playing this game and making this video. And these videos help me clear my mind. If you haven't watched these before, I say it in every video. Just talking about stuff and walking around and just being able to talk and fidget is very useful for me. And although, you know, I base my worth off of views or impressions, and I'm going to try and stop doing that, you know. I'm clearing some stuff out. I'm talking to myself. I'm going to believe that this video inherently has worth and is not based on how other people perceive it, because this video does have worth. It's me showing a light into who I am, and I'm worth something, so this video is worth something. But that's difficult, you know, just being like, oh yeah, I'm worth something. All of this is worth something. You know? Again, demons to escape. It's hard to love yourself, everyone knows that, but, you know, I feel like I'm finally kind of breaking through. I'm coming to the fact that it's not egotistical or, you know, prideful to love yourself. By love yourself, I mean like self-care. Being able to be like, okay, I'm fine. I deserve to set boundaries. I deserve to be treated like everyone else and have opinions and rights and ideas and opinions. You know, I think I said that twice. Anyways, but it's difficult, you know, just being okay with who you are, because I try and escape it every day. Either I'm working or I'm watching YouTube videos or I'm just zoning out. I think that's a problem. I don't think it's necessarily ADHD. I mean, I'm sure I have it, but like, I don't feel like I exist, but that's probably because I don't let myself. I don't just sit there and work through things. I don't just sit there and try and figure out who I am and what I need to be able to process different feelings and emotions and how to be okay with the facts of life. How to be okay with knowing that I probably won't ever achieve anything awesome, that nothing's going to run perfectly in my life, and everything I've been chasing was a childhood dream, and maybe it's okay to let go of that. I'm not saying I'm gonna let go. It's not that I'm giving up on dreams. It's that This is a dream from an older me, someone that doesn't exist anymore, and maybe that's okay. To kind of just let it fall. I know I still love the idea of creating, but you know, I feel like creating is more of a you know yourself kind of thing. Not completely, obviously. No one fully knows themselves. But, I'm 20 years old and I feel like I don't know much about me. And that's okay. That's I've got as much as it worries me about the idea of the rapture happening and my doubting God making me think that, I'm not saved anymore. As much as I hate the idea of the economy probably crashing, um, I've I've got to stop worrying about that. Because worrying about that is stopping me from coming to terms with it and doing what I can to get to where I want out of these situations. You know, it's it's kind of difficult. We all wish to escape. We all wish to go to the fantasy world where everything's set in stone. You know that you'll be fine. These are the exact events that will play out. You know how it's going to work usually. And if you don't know how it works, well, that's not you. You know, you aren't facing that. It's a game. You can make whatever choices you want without worrying about the repercussions. And I think that's a problem that we've all come to terms with. We can make the choices. We can choose what we want to do in the games, so we can feel good about the choices. We don't have to worry about it, so we don't make those moves in real life. Because indecisiveness is so much easier than living with the consequences of your actions. And it's not like I'm scared. I there's not really a move I can make in the current moment. The move I'm trying to make is just being happy with my existence, being happy with the fact that I moved out and I'm trying to cut down debt and trying to buy cool things that I like and go try new things but socializing is terrifying. It's very difficult. And I want to meet really cool people. I know some places where I can meet some really cool people that are right up my alley, but I'm not quite okay with myself to the point where I feel like once I let myself be okay, then my personality will be more authentic. And I'm not like barring myself off from relationships. It's just I don't want to put the effort in because I feel like that would just be me coping. Being like, "Oh yeah, it's fine. I don't have to work through this. I'm perfectly fine." Um, and the hard part is another reason why I escape is like what happens if, what happens if I do find the real me and the real me doesn't have any place in this old life? But then again, I guess if I'm a new me, then it doesn't really matter that much. If I'm the new me and I don't enjoy my life, then I'll probably just make a move and changes. And who knows, maybe I am a new me already. And I'm just escaping the fact that there are things in my life that I do want to change now. I haven't been able to. You know? Maybe that's it. I don't know. It's hard just being okay with, stuff that might be happening. That I'm different. and that maybe my feelings, my opinions, who I am, isn't wrong, you know? I think I'm scared to just confront people, or like, quote, confront people by being who I want to be. But, you know, I, I don't know. It's difficult just working through these things. You know, just figuring out why you do this, why you're like that. But these videos are really the only time that I can feel like I can do that. Or I can process. I'm scared of changing and existing because I'm scared that I will have to change, you know? I've been trying to build a good life for myself, and it feels like I'm saying, hey, everything I've done so far is invalidated. Um, because I'm changing my life again. But maybe it's, you know, maybe it's more like a completion. It isn't me tearing out the pages of a book and starting over. Maybe it's more like, you know, I'm just finishing a chapter. It's a it's a little bit of a new adventure, but you know, it's it's difficult coming to that fact, you know. Being like, okay, you know, I've enjoyed it. I've been working on all these things, and yes, I'm behind on things that I don't want to be behind on. But you know, I don't know. And also, this video look, I'm looking at the video and it looks really bad. It looks really dark for some reason. So, I'm assuming no one's really watching anymore. But that's fine. I'm not really making this for anyone else. Some childlike part of me is still like, oh man, you know, it would be so cool. It'd be so cool if I got views and got famous off this. But I'm just I'm just working through things. Oh wow, that's completely pitch black once I get into the water. Yeah, it's being okay with this is kind of difficult, you know? Being okay with just the fact that it's time to change. Being okay with the fact that maybe it's okay to complete a chapter. You know, I listen to music, and like right now I'm listening to music. I think this video I won't put music in, I'll just post it. But you know, it's listening to music gives me a certain feel of like changing my life, and I'll listen to like one song and it'll give me hope, and I'm like, I gotta do this, and then I'll start doing it. And I'm like, wow, this is, you know, I thought this would give the same feeling as the song, and that's another escapism tactic. I don't feel, you know, I don't quite feel much, you know. It's I've oversaturated my brain with music and feelings, and just like I give myself so much stimulation that I can't feel the small things anymore, you know. But the problem is, since I can't face my demons, I don't know how to be okay with being bored. I've got things to face and people to talk to. I I don't know. It's difficult just being okay with who you are. Extremely difficult. I don't quite know how to be okay with it, you know? I don't really enjoy life. I don't hate it, but I don't enjoy it. Um, you know, I started smoking, weed and drinking. I drank a little bit, but not really my thing. And recently, I swore off weed for the time being, um, because of personal reasons. So I can't really use those to escape anymore. And I've come to realize that I was kind of using it as a crutch. Um, I thought it was helping me realize things about me, but really it was just I would quote realize something and then just forget it, or like it isn't actually that important. I would like use it to open my mind or something. When in reality, it might all suck, but you know you do have to exist whether you want to or not. It's not like you can just choose not to exist. Well, I guess technically you can, but probably shouldn't do that. At least I'm trying to avoid that. It's it's such a pain, Just it's such a pain just being myself. So painful. You won't believe how pain how big of a pain in the ass it is. You know, just to be like, oh yeah, I'm fine. Existing with yourself is such a pain. You know, it, it is what it is. I wasn't really, you know, I, unfortunately, I wish I could just keep escaping life and just not existing, but unfortunately, I am someone who can't rest until I figure it out, figure it all out. Trust me, I wish I could. It's a detriment. I overwork myself with thoughts and ideas and concepts and things I want to get done and things that I don't actually want to get done, and I push off things that I'm supposed to do, and then I jump headfirst into something that I will quit within a few days. But maybe that's because I can't come to terms with the fact that I'm going to die and I have no purpose. And so I just jump into anything that I think could lead to a good life. I see other people have a good life. Why can't I have that? YouTube? Oh, I see they have a good life. Why can't I have that? Oh, streaming? I see they have a good life. Why can't I have that? Realistically, I just kind of want the money. Fame doesn't really matter to me. I've got got some kind of fucking brain parasite that makes me want to see numbers go up. Not necessarily. I don't care about people validating me. I couldn't care. But it's just something about like, ooh, I'm winning because I'm getting the views. I go from 1 view to 10 to 50 to 100 to 200 to 500 to 1,000 to a million, so forth. You know, it's just a numbers go up thing. It feels like a game. It feels like a complete game. But I also have standards for myself where I don't want to, clickbait for it. I don't want that because then that just doesn't feel unique. I, this feels like a game. It's like okay, this kind of feels like the whole idea of a job. The idea of a job that I enjoy is just you do your best, you do something really good, you get a raise, you get a promotion. And with this, it's kind of the same. Kind of, it's like okay, you do your best, you get views, and then because you got views, we're going to push you out further to more people, and then you got more views, so we're just gonna keep doing that until the your audience is saturated and there's really no one else coming in to start watching you. That's really cool, but you know, in reality, that's just me wasting my life away instead of spending time on things that I could actually care about. Go out, take a walk, listen to some music, try and sit down and think things through. Actually get an idea of who I am, what I want to do. And I don't just mean like job. I mean like, what do I want out of life? What is my goal? I don't know. Fear is the biggest factor to me wasting my life away. It's the biggest lie I ever told myself. It's the biggest lie anyone's ever told me. I'm so scared to go do things. To do things because it's awkward out there. I've been so curated on specific ideas of how relationships and life in general works, where it's to the point where when I go out and actually meet the people and have awkward moments, or, you know, then I start overthinking what I did because it wasn't perfect. Well, obviously it won't be perfect. It's not like they're my best friend. It's a new person. I have to talk to. I don't know. There's a lot to process, and I'm going to try to just sit there with my thoughts and think for a bit. But it seems like I can only ever think clearly whenever I'm talking to someone. Thoughts don't help. It's videos that I need. I need to make videos. But I'm not just going to, there's some internal dialogue that needs to happen that you just can't kind of formulate into a cohesive video. You can't just throw it out there, Just repeating, like, not cantrips, what, I don't know, mantras, I think. Just repeating those over and over to yourself, and kind of just, and you can't just process something within a few minutes, It takes time, unfortunately. These videos have helped a lot to actually help me. Like, I will make them, and then they will just kind of stick in my brain for a little bit, and I'll process them. Or sometimes I'll just have processed the whole thing. Like, one other video, unfortunately, it's corrupted. And it was a really good video, but I won't talk about that. It's difficult. I process the fact, hey, child like me it hasn't felt safe enough to come out. So I should start trying to figure out what I want to do and be happy with that while taking care of myself. And maybe then I'll be fine. Maybe I'll be okay. But, you know, I'm working on it. And there's some people in my life who have kind of fallen away from me, and there's some people in my life that I don't really care much for anymore. Because I'm busy, but it it would be difficult to explain to them, hey, this is it. I've grown, I've changed, I'm a different person than who I was, and unfortunately, I don't think my new life can remain in a way where you can be part of it. I think this is it. It's been great talking to you, but I think it's time for us to move on. I hope you have a great life. It's hard being like that. And oh boy, do I wish that I could just move to a different state, start over somewhere else. Oh. I wish. Powdered snow. But I've got no one. There's no one. There's really no one around. I don't have like deep ties with people. I don't have like really anything going for me technically. That's the problem. If I go to a different job, I definitely have to have a roommate. You know. I want to go to a different state. I want to explore, get a new job, just move around. But I don't know if I'm mature enough to handle moving around and just going wherever. But exploration is so important. Being part of something else, finding your spot, reinventing life, a whole new experience, something that's completely different than you've ever experienced. Something where you can go out and do what you want. You know, I don't think it would be perfect. I don't think moving to a different state is a fantasy, but I feel like it would present new challenges and new solutions, you know. Something that couldn't just be the same old thing. It's something completely new. Something that's not feigned or something authentic, you know. But, you know, that's difficult. Maybe I'll do it next year. My lease is about to renew, and I think I'm deciding to stay here for the time being. Just keep working on myself and improving. I don't know. I don't think, you know, financially, I don't think I'm stable enough either. I don't think I can find a new job that would make it affordable. You know, maybe I could get a new job. Who knows? But maybe I just try and find a new job anyways. Just look at different states and just put applications in for jobs that pay pretty decently, and then find a roommate to go live with them in a different state. Enjoy a new existence somewhere. Or maybe that's just escapism again. Maybe I'm just trying to escape the fact that where I live is good enough. I don't feel like that's the case, but I've rushed into things before without realizing the whole situation it entails. So, you know, who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong. But I do think when I'm young, I should explore, you know, go to different places, enjoy a different experience, you know? Maybe. I don't know. The world is so, so tedious sometimes. I don't know where I want to go. I don't know who I want to be. We'll see.